Q1 2017 GDP economic growth rate has been released by the National Bureau of Statistics, which shows that it grew at minus 0.52%. That means that Nigeria's economy is still in recession, but as some would say, on the path to recovery. This will have an impact definitely on the MPC decision today, amongst other issues. And so we will begin to discuss looking at this decision impact. So first I'll begin with Jaya. This growth rate and of course the likely outcome of the decision today. What's your take?
Well, I think that it was very disappointing for everyone who had a positive, should I say, attitude towards today's results. Like we've seen, Nigeria is in negative growth still for the 5th consecutive quarter, and it must be very disappointing for those who are currently sitting at the MPC because they have been trying to they've been trying to make the economy, stabilize the economy for a while, and that hasn't been the case. And if you read the past statements or communiques of the CBN, you will see that the MPC have been making the case for fiscal intervention, and now we're still negative growth. So the onus now is on fiscal policy. That's what it is.
Onus still now on fiscal policy. This shows negative growth, 5th contraction, like Jai has said. What's your take, Tope?
I think the monetary policy so far had indicated that inflation itself has been its prime target, its policy mandate, and so far it has also made sure that it wants to reduce the gap between the official exchange window and the BDC, and also inflation. So it was certain that it's obvious that for them, right from time, that policy direction was inflation and exchange rate. They've always stated it that if they can wrangle or stock off inflation, growth itself can emerge. And one of the greatest problems to this economy itself was the wide difference between the official window and the BDC, and also the fact that you have high inflation, and because of this high inflation, you've had companies who have been struggling from the weight of inflation. So for me as a person, I think that, well, it's sad that we're still in a recession, but then it's not totally bad because we're skidding out of it marginally. Really, it's 0.52 compared to 0.67. So it's not totally bad to say. The contraction is less of, but then it won't change. Personally, I don't think it will change monetary policy.
We have to now join the Central Bank of Nigeria Governor live for his statements. And then we'll be back after the MPC statements by the CBN Governor to discuss the impact of the decisions.
The committee weighed the implications of continuing global uncertainties arising from dwindling commitment to global cooperation, the strengthening of the United States dollars, and the unsteady commodity prices. Committee similarly evaluated other challenges confronting the domestic economy and the opportunities for achieving economic growth and price stability in 2017. The MPC was of the view that whereas the downward trend in inflation in April 2017 is a welcome development, the rate was still significantly above the policy reference band. Committee is particularly pleased with the gradual retreat in inflation, the relative stability in the Naira exchange rate across all segments of the foreign exchange market, and the improved prospects of foreign investment inflows. The committee also welcomes the passage of the 2017 budget and called on relevant authorities to ensure its judicious implementation, especially the capital budget in line with the economic recovery and growth plan. It, however, noted the associated risks to banking system liquidity of the envisaged fiscal injections during the remainder of the year. Against these risks, committee contemplated the prospects of further tightening of monetary policy should the need arise. The MPC, however, noted that further tightening would widen the income gap, depress aggregate consumption, and adversely affect credit to the real sector of the economy. Nevertheless, against the backdrop of the rather unclear outlook around key economic activities, food production especially, and some optimism about current deceleration in inflation, as well as relative stability in the Naira exchange rate, the Monetary Policy Committee was reluctant to alter the current policy configuration in any fundamental manner. This is intended to allow the existing policies to fully achieve their intended goals and objectives. On the other hand, the committee noted that the cost of capital interest rate in the economy remains high and not helpful to growth. The Monetary Policy Committee was, however, concerned that loosening will exacerbate inflationary pressures and worsen the gains so far achieved in the exchange rate of the Naira. It was also convinced that loosening will further increase the negative real interest rate as the gap between the nominal interest rate and inflation widens. On the financial stability outlook, the committee noted that in spite of the banking sector's resilience, the weak macroeconomic environment has continued to exert pressure on the banking system. The MPC urged the central bank, to intensify its surveillance in order to address emerging vulnerabilities. The committee also called on the deposit money banks to step up credit to the private sector to support economic recovery and convey a positive feedback to the financial system. Committee's decisions. In consideration of the challenges weighing down the domestic economy and the uncertainties in the global environment, the committee decided by a unanimous vote of 8 members in attendance to retain the NPR at 14% alongside all other policy parameters. 1 member was absent at the meeting. In summary, MPC decided to 1. Retain NPR at 14%, 2. Retain CRR at 22.5%, 3. Retain liquidity ratio at 30%, and 4. Retain the asymmetric corridor at plus 200 and minus 500 basis points around the NPR.
All right, great to have you guys back. As we'll be wrapping up, let's look at the issues of growth, which is a major focus for the fiscal and also monetary policies seemingly looking at supporting in that regard. What would you be expecting in the days to come in terms of policy direction from fiscal side?
No, the fiscal side had already come out openly that they are concerned. The RGP itself stated that it's a growth-driven one, and they want to target a 2.7% growth. So what you expect is that you see a complete, just like what the CBN governor stated, that we want a judicious implementation of that particular document, the 2017 document. You will expect more capital expenditure, which will be the anchor of this particular policy. But more importantly is that you're also going to see the federal government going into the money markets to raise, and at this rate also you're going to also continue to see the crowding out of private firms out, especially, which is one thing that you will continue to see. And it was also very important that the CBN also highlighted that the cost of borrowing is high, and it's also firms are already experiencing substantial suffocation. But then it maintained its position that it had always been inflation, and that was the premises for which it stood. But then they also understood that at this particular point in time, that further tightening itself could exhibit depress consumption. And that was one of the reasons they avoided tightening, because you also know that when you have these expansionary budgets, there's also a substantial possibility of high liquidity into the banking sector. So that was one of the reasons they considered tightening, but then they put that off.
Jai, what are your closing thoughts on this decision today?
Same as it has always been. My closing thoughts are, we will just have to wait and see what comes in the next month, in the next few weeks as concerns fiscal policy. That's what I have to say about.
And for you, Dr.
Just like Jaya said, I think everybody is now looking to fiscal policy to drive growth, and therefore we will certainly must thank the federal government that the budget has been passed. But then we also want to say quick implementation of that budget, especially now that many Nigerians who are also looking for trying to put food on their table. So it's expedient that budget is implemented, especially capital expenditure, such that it can also reduce or resolve issues that have to do with supply shocks in this country. Thank you.
Okay, so as we wrap up, we would just like to say that this has been a very critical moment for the Nigerian financial market and economy. The central bank today retained rates and all indicators, giving that signal that yes, it's ready to support and also give that shore up to the Nigerian fiscal policy direction, which is focused on recovery and growth. Once again, the Q1 2017 GDP growth rate for Nigeria was released today by the National Bureau of Statistics, putting it at minus 0.52%. And that shows that Nigeria is still in recession, but as many believe, on the steady path to recovery. So that will be all for this special live discourse on the Monetary Policy Committee meeting of the Central Bank of Nigeria, the 256th. It was great having Temitope Babalola.
Thank you for having me.
And Jaya Okaakalu.
Thank you.
Till next edition, when we have a live discourse on key economic moments in the country, I'm Leno Toba Sebasekong, signing out for Closure Web TV. Thank you for watching.